Welcome, Lemurian tribe. Aloha, and welcome to today's special session where I have my son Naiya De here. Hi, Naiya De. Oh,
Hello. Thanks for having me.
yes, so grateful that he could be on. Um, this is a session where we're going to talk about the higher self mastery tools from a perspective of a teenager and how you can gain insights from somebody who never even got inundated with the other way of being. Like we all have been inundated. We've all have been inundated with really growing up, identifying with our egos. Yeah, this is a big thing when you grow up in a normal way. You learn to identify with your ego, which is who you need to be, who you should be, and also, what all the people kind of instill in you and how you make sense of that outer input, and you form sort of a character from that, which is a character that's formed by that thinking mind, that is the lower part of the brain, that is really a lot of the time informed by survival mode. Yeah, how do I fit in? How do I survive in this situation? How do I um, gain good grades? How can I be liked? How can I get appraisal? Not appraisal. How can I get praise? Yeah. So those are all the things we kind of grow up with. Those are our parameters. And depending on the parents you have or the background you have, you may have more impact or more influence from how can I be a good person, or how can I fit in? Yeah. Or how can I be good at something? Yeah. So those are all extrinsically motivated, um, uh, motors in you, so to actually move you forward. Now, when you grow up with the higher self lifestyle, your motor is from the inside. Yeah. So you're not extrinsically, I don't know if I said it correctly, extrinsically motivated. So from the outside motivated, but you're inside motivated, intrinsically motivated. Yeah. So forgive me if I mixed up those two words right now. So basically, what I'm saying is when you grow up with the higher self lifestyle, you learn that your guidance is the most important tool that directs your life. And that guidance is scanning the outer world and aligns your actions with how you can best navigate the outer world, but not in order to please the outer world, in order to please your inner world and to be on guidance. Yeah. And for that, you basically need to have a very strong inner guidance, and you need to develop something that is super important. That is really the key. You need to develop an identification with who you really are and not with who you ought to be. And who you really are is not your conditioned self. It's not the mistakes you make. It's not the assets you have. It's not how pretty you are, how good you are at something. It is who you are in the higher realms. It is your higher self. It is who you're here to be in the world. Yeah. So that obviously entails your mission. And with that comes that you learn early on about what your mission is in life. Yeah. But that we'll get later to that. The most important part is intrinsic motivation that has to do with inner guidance being your main leading force, compared to extrinsic motivation, where your outer guidance is your leading force. Who is here who grew up without a guidance, who grew up listening to the parents, to the teachers, to books, who reads books in order to understand whether they're correct, whether they're legitimate, whether they're justified? Okay, here I'm seeing all the hands coming up. I see thumbs come up. Okay. Yeah, people are responding to that because this is how society grew us up. This is how we as a society are destined, not destined, are designed to grow up. Yeah, not destined. And a big part of that is the school system. The school system that we all went through creates followers, not leaders, right? The school system designs who you need to be. They design how you need to think, what you need to learn, what you need to be interested in, and even how you learn. It takes up your time and tells you, where you need to spend your time and how. Most kids, get this, most kids, they spend most of their life until they're 18 in school. So from 6 years old on till 18, you absolutely spend most of your time in school with other people, with other people's agendas. Yeah. So we all went through that. Of course, we're programmed. Yeah. That's here to program us. Now, how do you step out of the program? By connecting to your higher guidance and making that your main point in life, your main guiding force. Who is doing that? Who is making the higher self here their main guiding force? And if you're listening to the recording, answer those questions for yourself. There we go. Look at you. Okay, I'm getting thumbs up and hearts up here too. I like that. I like that. Exactly. Because this is what we're doing now. Now, let's talk with this beautiful human being here who has started off in a different way, who started off on his own guidance. Yeah. And Naiya, the first thing I think I want to just bring up, because I led into this way, I didn't know I was going to, is really talking about the cobalt. You know, do
Mm.
you want to talk a little bit about the cobalt in your
Sure,
own
yeah.
words? We haven't rehearsed anything. Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So, well, when I was growing up, of course, being a little kid, there's always this your ego is very strong because it's learning to, have more power in your life. It's learning to kind of like, okay, can I get this guy to do these things that I want to do, Oh, I don't want that. Well, I don't want to do it, so I'm just not going to do it because I'm going to tell them I don't want to do it. But um the problem with that is when you're growing up that way, you start, people of course respond differently to that little part of you that's being all, difficult, right?
Selfish. Mhm.
And they start to say, "Hey, don't do that. You're bad for doing that. You can't do that." And you start to associate this cobalt as connected to us. Now we called it the cobalt. We called the ego the cobalt, which is goblin in German. And just doing that, just naming it the cobalt, gave it a sense of not being you, but being a separate entity that kind of takes control here or there. And that always made it easier because then she could call me out on, you're in your cobalt again, right? Without it being me as the issue. Because of course it wasn't me being the issue. It was my brain, taking a total different way of looking at something and trying to be difficult, trying to get it my way. And if she'd always just told me you were doing it wrong, I'd just feel that okay, that's obviously me, so I can't be anybody else but this egotistical person. And so that was already just in itself, just calling it the cobalt, an incredibly good way to be able to talk to me about the ego
Mhm.
without pushing me into the role of continuing to be the ego.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Ooh, I love it how you described it also, how you explained it, because it's fun for me to hear from his perspective too. I love it. Thank you, Naide. Yeah, and how it looked from my perspective was, anytime he was like, I want this, I want this. When they were little, he wanted the toys. I want the toy, I want it, I want it, I want it. Or when he was older, he's like, no, I'm not, no, I'm no, no, no. It's all no, right? I could just decide that little Nayade inside wants to have fun. He wants to have a great time. And there's this ego self that's building that wants to have control. And it doesn't care about fun, it cares about control. And if I give that power by talking to it and talking to it as if it is Nayade, then it has, of course, more power. But if I say, Nayade, your kobold is out of control. He's trying to get you out of the fun stuff today. We want to go swimming right now, want to go to the ocean and have fun, and you want to come with me? And the kobold says, no, I'm not cleaning up my room, and that's why it's going to keep you here all day. You want to be here all day, or you want to go swimming? Like, I want to go swimming. So let's get that kobold in check. That kobold is just trying to cause trouble. And so then I helped him when he was little to get Kobold in check by telling him, you know what, I'm going to have to get him in check. He's too strong right now. I'm going to tell him he needs to sit in the room until the room is cleaned up. I'm sorry you're part of this. You're just going to have to help him clean up the room, but at least the room is cleaned up and we go swimming. So then he did that. He cleaned up the room, knowing that he gets to go swimming and that he just needs to help his kobold to get on board. And everything was fine. And later, when he was older, the way I helped him there is I helped to tell him, it's not about me, it's really about my higher self guiding me. I don't want this to sound like I'm this cool mom, because I'm not. I have my own mistakes, like everybody does. But the Kobold tool was so good because the Kobold tool helped me then tell him, okay, you are in your Kobold. Get your Kobold in check. And what did you do, Nayade, when you were older? When I said, get your kobold in check, what was your tool you used, or how did you respond to that?
I would always end up. I remember this actually really clearly. Also with being able to, you tell me get that kobold out of here, right? And I remember you never really did timeouts. I remember the first time I ever had a real timeout was at my friend's house. I thought, what is this? What do you mean a timeout? I have to sit outside for like 20 minutes? Oh my gosh. What you would always do was if I was going on a timeout, it was always up to me how long I spend in that. It was always for either cleaning up my room or, okay, well, you got to go and, organize these toys. And when that's done, then you can go and do this. So it was always up to me. And however long I made with that, that's how long I would be in timeout, which was a really great. I think it made timeout a lot less of a I'm being punished thing and more of a, I just got to get it done, so I can go have fun.
Yeah, I love that.
And yeah.
And he
And
took it so well. So once he did that 2 times or 3 times, anytime I told him, you're in a kobold, get out of the kobold, he would actually literally go into the bathroom or go upstairs, and 2 minutes later he was back completely himself. I mean, Naida, you have such an amazing way still to this day, unbelievably amazing to me as a person who grew up with identifying with the ego. I could tell him, hey, get out of your ego. Nowadays we can call it ego, but for kobold I like better. Get out of your kobold, and he will say, okay, give me 2 minutes, I'll be right back. And he goes and he comes back and he's like, okay, hey, how can we do this? Hey, I'm sorry, actually, let's do it better now. The cool thing is, since I am, you know, I grew up with the ego, that will be a default mode that I get into if I'm like in real stress. Yeah. So when we're stressed for whatever reason, in fear, stress is fear, I can't make it, I'm not in time, or blah, 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 there's not enough. This is typical stress, right? Um, if there's a not enough consciousness, that always happens down here in the lower part of the brain. And we get locked into that fear mode, and that's then survival mode, fight or flight. You could be either a fighter in that case, or you're a flighter in that case, depending on how you respond. But when I'm in that mode, then I lock into the ego and I temporarily think that my ego is correct. I have to take control over a situation now, and I'm going to make sure I take control over it. And I see it from the inside and I see it's happening, but I cannot always get out of it as quickly as Nayade can because he hasn't been inundated with it. I literally have to bring my attention to the frontal lobe, which is what we're going to do today in the energy session. Yeah. So I have to do a little energy work to do it. Now, Nayade, he will call that. He will now be my call to the ego. He'll say, Mommy, you're in your kobold, or you're in your ego. Can we do timeout? Can we do a redo? And so we do redos. Our timeout is a redo. And what that is is you quickly take some time for yourself, and that time is sacred. It's a time that you get to have and that you need in order to come back to yourself. And then we'll say, okay, we'll meet back up in 10 minutes. And then we'll come out, and whoever was in their ego will be out of ego. The other person will support that and will say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're back, much better this way. And we live outside of that conditioning. Yeah. Good. How do you like that? How's that landing with you? Any questions? Let us know. Okay, we're getting a thumb up. Here coming some hearts. Here we are. Okay, beautiful. If you're listening to the recording, how's that landing with you? Good. Love it. Thank you so much. Good. Now, speaking of that, Naiya, can you tell us what you've developed? I know over time you've developed the scrolls. I know I haven't brought them up with him, but right now they're flooding in. You've developed the scrolls. So do you want to talk a little bit about the scrolls? When he was little, he came to me and he said, Mommy, he's always watching. He's watching people, he's watching situations. And I was always wondering what he does. Yeah. And for example, I brought him to a gym, and he was only not even 2 years old. It was in Germany. So he was like crawling state. It was crawling state. So not a year old. And so he was crawling, and I bring him to this gym so he can get some workout and then, enjoy other kids. And it was a gym for little toddlers. And so with tunnels and all kinds of things you crawl through and you do. And Naiya was a very active child. Brought him to the gym. He is not even a 1-year-old child, 9 months, sitting there at the gym looking for 1.5 hours at everybody. And then I take him back home. I'm like, I don't know. Next day I go there, sitting there watching. And I take him back home. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try it a third day. I always do everything in threes. Okay, try a third day. Take him to the gym. He gets there, he looks, and he goes off. And he does everything. He does the slide, he does the tunnel, he goes into these little balls where he can play. And I realized, gosh, he took 2 days to figure out what's happening. And now he knows how to do it. And he's been always like that. So when he was like 6 or so, and I see him in this state where he's looking, I've always let him be in that state from little on. He's been meditating always. But at that time, I thought, let me ask him what he's actually doing. Is he meditating, connecting to higher self? Is he just resting? Is he watching? What is he doing? And he told me, Mommy, I'm figuring out the scrolls. Do you want to talk about it, Nadia? What are the scrolls?
Sure, yeah. So the scrolls were a way that I could kind of understand people in a better way. I could kind of look at each person and understand what they are about, how they work, and how I can act around them to either be like them or be with them, hang out with them, and just kind of understanding. It was like a title I'd give everybody, to understand what do they like and what do they not like, and how best do I vibe with them.
Yeah.
And so for ages, I would use the scrolls as, figuring out everything around me. I can't hear you. You are muted.
Keep going, Nadia. There was
Okay.
just so much.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. And and yeah, and kind of being able to understand just like every little aspect of people and how I could best connect with them, what that meant for me. And so for years and years, I would use that. But what I always noticed was it was always kind of a way for me to like find things that I connect with people. And I've noticed that later on in life now, I've started to look more at my own scroll and kind of understand, because I feel that the first, I think about 8 years of my life, understanding other people was really helpful for me, but I still never understood how I could connect with them. Like I could understand how best I could um, connect with them, but not how I could really connect with them. And so I feel as though now in these more modern times for my life, I'm looking a lot more at my own scroll and understanding that.
Ooh, oh my gosh, how interesting is that? I love that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, and the scroll asked him, what does scroll mean? He's like, this is like the Egyptian scrolls, when they have everything written on there. Look, you're getting hearts, you're getting responses. Thank you guys for responding. So it's these Egyptian scrolls that have a manual. So basically, he's figuring out the manual for each person. And remember when I said earlier that when we grow up with extrinsic information and identifying with the extrinsic world, with the outer world, that's different from growing up with an intrinsic understanding of the world. The scrolls is an intrinsic way of understanding the world. It's not the world tells you who you need to be and you're trying to figure this out and you're constantly working on you. No, you are already, clear in who you are. You have this feeling about yourself and you're developing it more, but you're looking at the outer world to understand, how are they? How is the world working? How is the world working from my perspective? Right? I think that's just totally amazing. And he still has that. I can ask him, you know, questions of how does this this person work, or have you noticed, we've talked about who's in alpha and who's in beta, and how do you know who's in alpha, who's in beta? So Naiya has a really good sense of understanding the outer world, but also understanding the inner world. And I love what you just said, Naiya, that the inner world is becoming more important now, from 8 years old on until now. With 8 years old, around 7, 8, 9, a different part of the brain comes in, really normally with 9, but people are younger and younger now. A different part of the brain comes in for the kid, and that part has a more intellectual understanding of the world, whereas before it was all about feeling. And before that, you were just programmed. So if you have a little kid, until they're 6 years old, they're being programmed by everything they experience. Everything is a programming, because they're in theta mode, and theta takes everything in like a sponge. That's why I recommend highly not to use any movies. Don't let them see any movies or games on the phone that have an enemy. Why do you think all the games have an enemy? Why do you think all the movies have an enemy? Especially the games, though. Because if kids get inundated early on with enemies and people are against me, they strengthen their lower part of the brain and they become citizens that can be pushed around by pain or by fear. Yeah, they say, oh, you got to fear this, and they will do whatever you tell them to do, only because they're programmed to that. But if you make sure that your kid, if you have little kids, does not get any games that are against somebody, there's nobody being shot, nothing gets killed. You actually have games where you build, like Minecraft, the creative version, or you have games where you have a little farm. Yeah. So it's hard to find those, but that's what they need. And same with the movies. We didn't do the Disney movies, even though they're fun, but hey, there are enemies in there. Yeah. The do movies where people work together. For example, Cars. First Cars movie is an amazing movie. I always cut out the beginning of that movie because there's a strong fight where they push each other out. But as soon as that movie ends, and Night, you never knew that there's a beginning, right? So we love that movie, Cars. And basically, Cars is a movie where it starts for us where the car goes out, falls out of the big truck. And then he starts to build and develop an understanding of other people's realities and how to work together, and everything goes well. It's really amazing. So, first 6 years, yeah, make sure they're not inundated with the world so they can build their inner sense. Everything that stirs um, uh, imagination is good. Waldorf school is, of course, a good school for that. And then you go from 6 years old on, those are the feeling years until 9. They're absolutely in their feelings. It can also start at 5 already, and they feel everything. And this is when you need feeling induced a lot and share about their feelings. That's when they play with the dolls and the cuddly animals more, and they actually interact more with each other in that way. And that's when you can inundate start introducing movies that instill feelings and a sense of purpose. And there can be small enemies in there, but nothing scary, just more a conflict. Okay, I need to do this. And then later, once they're 9, 10 years old on, they can handle enemies, because this is when that brain comes in that he's talking about, that understands more intellectually. And it can now see, this is not me. This is just a concept that I'm looking at. Yeah. And once they're 14, 13, 14, 15, that is when the ego becomes most active. And this is really why teenagers are so judgmental about themselves and judgmental about the other world. And that's why teenagehood can be really hard, because you're falling out of a sense of connectedness. Yeah. Theta state is complete oneness with everything. Then comes the feeling years, where I feel with you, I'm empathetic. We're all empaths. Then come the intellectual state. I'm still with the group. I'm now observing things. I'm understanding things. I'm becoming interested. But there's still no real picture of we are potentially against each other. And when that comes on, for some kids already early at 11, 12, when that hits hard, but it's definitely hard at work between 14 and 16, that's a tough time, because you literally see yourself through the eyes of judgment and of contrast. And this is when your ego forms the biggest. And you want to understand that you can handle your ego, that the ego is a tool for you and not has you in check. So Naiya De, can you share with us what's happening when that judgment comes on? Has that judgment come on for you as well? And if so, how do you handle that?
Yeah, sure. Um, I found that judgment tends to be, for me, always really put together with kind of either a mix of like something else that's been on my mind. Because when I feel that something else has been on my mind or something else has been
For example,
not
give us a clear
okay, an
example.
example is like, let's say I was at school and I had a few friends kind of bullying me or so, or they were, not, I just wasn't having a good time with them, right? If that was on my mind, just being at home or being with my other friends, I would have this automatic judgment already put onto me from this other situation, from these worries that I had for it. And it would just streamline myself that with any other situation I was in until that was resolved, I would still feel that judgment. I'd still feel they probably don't like me. They probably don't even want me to be here. They probably want to just go hang out alone. And I'm this weight that they have to carry around. And that always, I never really understood where that's coming from, because like for weeks I'd be having the best time with my good friends, and all of a sudden I come and feeling super judged or super self-conscious about not being the right way or not being cool enough. And I'd started looking at different aspects of my life. Like, where do I have worries? Where are things that I'm worrying about? And seeing, oh, okay, so with that certain person, I feel that they don't really like me and such. Now, why is that? Is that really a personal thing? Or is that more kind of a power thing on their end? Or is that a social thing? Or is that really because of me? Because I know that I don't think people wouldn't like me. And if they don't like me, I'm pretty clear that they have something going on that isn't about me. In fact, it might be about another situation that they have, that they're worrying about. And they're then projecting those worries onto you, or those worries onto the people around them, that they need to be looking cool or they need to have the right friends.
Wow, I love that. And that's so powerful, guys. Yeah, you're getting hearts, Naiya De. This is amazing. And yeah, share with us, what would you do then? How do you get out of that?
So, I mean, I'm guessing it's probably different for a lot of people. And for me, I found my favorite way of getting out of these things is to really take some time and just reflect on myself, not go and hang out with more people, not try and, you know, dumb down the feeling, right? Just really spending time alone and going inward into what I'm truly feeling inside. Because I found more often than not, when you're really having these worries and stuff, that's your body telling you that you need to take some time and lock in, really look back at what's going on and spend some time, flip it around before going back to that situation.
Woohoo! Woohoo! We're celebrating you. Yes, yes, yes. Hearts are coming up and thumbs are coming up. Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how much that rings home. And gosh, everybody's resonating here with you because we are all extrinsically motivated people who are motivated by the outside, but how I'm liked, how I'm being seen from the outer world. We then, in this situation, when we don't feel loved or liked, we want to go to more people to make them like us. Yes.
Right.
And so all of a sudden, you're finding yourself looking for love and begging for love and attracting narcissists and attracting situations of abuse because you're trying to look for love. Who knows about that? Yeah.
Which a
And
lot of the time ends up just pushing you to be different, pushing you to not keep because there's reasons these people are friends with you. And if you now come to them to try and make them like you more and you're acting all different, well, 9 times out of 10, they're going to wonder what's going on with this guy, what's he doing, or what's she doing, this is kind of weird. Let's get back to why I really am friends with you. There's no need to impress me. And more often than not, it's when you're having these worries. I mean, I have this every time one of my friends leaves the island or when I've been hanging out with people and now I'm going to take a break of hanging out. I have this moment of panic, like I'm never going to find friends again. I got to go make plans with everybody I know and try and call them all and hang out with them all constantly because I'm so worried of not having people around anymore. When that ends up just overloading your system more often than making you feel good, right? Whereas if I'm able to take a break and think, oh, great, this is a blessing. I get to go and relax a bit. I get to go and spend time with myself a little bit. And I'm going to see my friends at some point again anyway. But this is exactly what I need right now, this little bit of a break. Just setting that mindset can completely help you with dealing with that feeling.
that's a reset of your nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. That's how you're resetting your nervous system because your nervous system was here in the frontal lobe in love, oxytocin, we're having fun, we love each other, we're nice with each other. And then comes the fear. Now you're going into the lower part of the brain, fear mode. And as you're in that fear mode, you see the world as your enemy, you see the world as a problem, you operate from worry or fear. And I love you mentioned worry earlier because worry is another factor, either fear or worry. And you see it from that perspective, and every interaction you do, of course, during that time with other people will be tainted by that worry or by that fear, and they will notice that, like you said, they're like, who is she today, who is he today? But instead, if you reset your nervous system and you go and literally dwell on what was so beautiful about this encounter and let that sink in, not afraid of the feeling of loneliness in that moment, that feeling of loneliness will give way to a deeper sense of purpose. Hendevek? Yeah. So that deeper sense of purpose is what you're coming back to. Yeah. Would you
Mm-hmm.
agree, Nadia?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so this is a way to reset your nervous system. Anytime you're feeling a weird feeling, you're feeling something that's not happy, is a call, as Naiya said, to spend a moment with you, reflect, is there something that I need to change? And if there isn't, then just come back to your center. How do you get back to your center? Give us some ways of how we could get back to our center or how you do it, Naiya. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's see. Of course, it's always just really nice to find yourself a place where you feel comfortable and just at peace, where there's no one you have to suck up to or no one you have to impress. Just a place where you can completely, be completely yourself, wear that shirt you thought you'd never wear in public and just put that on, just to completely reset, get away from anything that could be having an influence on how you act and how you try to show yourself. and just be able to be completely, even be completely goofy, yell, sing, be like, wake, make weird noises, because no one's going to come into you and tell you you're doing it wrong and you can't do that, because it's none of their business really. And just trying to follow their business won't really bring you anywhere except to their control. And so I mean that's something I love to do. If I'm in my car or stuff and there's no one around me, I'll just start completely acting like a goofball, you know. Just, oh, whatever. I can sing how loud I want. I can sing however I want. I don't have to sing perfectly. I can sing completely badly. I can sing in a British accent, you know? And just because that'll shock your body into thinking, okay, we're not being this linear way of living. We're being all over the place, right?
I
And
love
that helps you get comfortable with that. So coming back to being linear, you're like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. This is better than anything else I could have been doing right now with these people.
that's beautiful. I love it. Sorry, it's
Perfect. Yeah.
breaking
And
up a little bit.
before being,
One moment. One
oh,
moment, breaking up a little bit on your end. Just wait a moment until the
no
internet
worries.
resets. Okay.
Speaking of resets,
Yeah,
awesome. Is it
speaking of
better?
uh-huh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, perfect.
So basically,
And
you said then you're coming back to yourself and you think, oh, it's awesome to to have that time. So share that again, please.
right. That then when you come back to being around people and, thinking about having to be a certain way, be different now, you kind of use those goofy reservoir of, your state of being. And now it's like, now I get to have some fun and be very linear, very in a certain way. But at the same time, it's not that big of a deal to you anymore. You've already seen that world didn't end by you being a little goofy. And so now coming back, no need to be completely in a certain way because you saw the world didn't end once. It's not going to end twice. And yeah,
I love that. I love that freedom that comes from that. And didn't you all get a smile when you heard him talk about that? And that's the freedom we give ourselves, right? We give ourselves that freedom of just, hey, come on, this is about me. This is not about the other people. This is about me. I'm going to get a little bit of me time. So our call to you today is take a little bit of me time. Whenever you're feeling off, don't go out and try to fix it. Take a little bit of me time to come in. And I want to share how I instilled it with Naiya De with the guidance of the higher self. So the whole thing of, hey, look at the hearts and everybody's really celebrating you, Naiya De. Love that. And Bridget is saying, take a deep exhale and shake your whole body or dance. That's a good thing too. Use your body, yeah, and use your body.
oh,
Is what Naiya was saying. Woo, 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 goofballing.
yeah.
Let's do it right now together. Shake our bodies. Woo! Yay, we're celebrating together. By the way, when we have our Hawaii retreat in October, this is happening. It's now confirmed. We're confirming the dates, but we definitely have the retreat. It's going to probably be third week of October. This is 2025 that we're talking about. If you're listening to it in a different year, look for the retreat that we're having usually every year. This year, 2025 is in Hawaii. You'll see Naiya De. You'll meet Naiya De, and I'll be one of the speakers. Woohoo! And he's starting his own podcast. Don't you think this is unbelievably amazing advice that is not only good for teenagers, it's good for adults too, right? And yeah, thank you, Naide, for stepping in your purpose and actually helping others with your wisdom, your understanding. Look at all the hearts. You're being showered with hearts, and the shower is going from the earth up into the heavens. Thank you guys for your responses. If you're listening to the recording, please share in your comments, share in the comments how this is landing with you. This gives us feedback, and you wouldn't believe how important feedback can be for a person who's learned to be extrinsically motivated. For me, it's not thankfully so important anymore to know that I'm on purpose or that I'm doing the right thing, because that I'm using the higher self for. And in the past, when I was young, it would have been important to know that what I'm doing is valuable for everybody outside of me. Yeah, I needed everybody to approve me. I still have that in my lower part of the brain. Like I said, it's my default mode. It's gonna be it forever because I'm programmed that way. It's gonna be your default mode, I guarantee it, because you've been programmed that way. So if you're stressed, you're gonna fall back to, oh my gosh, people need to like me. What if nobody loves me? Or fear mode, if you're programmed to fear mode, I gotta hide, I'm not safe. If you're programmed to performing, it means I need to do, I need to do, I need to do. So whatever your motivation is it praise? Then you need to do. Is it scolding? Then you need to hide. And is it approval? Then you need to get approval, right? So whatever it is, you're going to fall back to. So don't worry about that because you've been programmed. And hopefully you're not programming your kids that way. But nevertheless, we can learn this. And I have learned that I can now let my higher self be my guidance and my important part. And you can learn, and you have learned that already if you're part of higher self mastery. And from there, we can understand that that creates the value of what we offer. I don't think about what I'm bringing here. I never rehearse. I never have a concept because I let the higher self talk. And when my ego sees the talks, there's um, a lot of things that it probably could find bad, but I'm not going to let it because it's good. It's good what's coming through. Uh, people are receiving it. What we're doing right now, Naiya, you and I, it's a good thing. Are we perfect? No. Do we care about it? No. We don't care about being perfect. We care about letting it come through. And as it comes through and you're receiving it and you're letting in what fits for you, your brain will also say, oh, this is not perfect and this is not perfect. Maybe they don't look good, or maybe the internet isn't good, or maybe the accent is bad, or there'll be all kinds of things your mind is telling you, but you're not listening to that because you're listening to from the heart as well. And you say, I'm letting it in, I'm letting the wisdom in, and I'm going in resonance from higher self to higher self. And that connection, that higher self connection, brings in information that's not even being shared with words. Yeah. And so right now, we're in this field together. And I really appreciate that. Now, how did I get Naiya to not being extrinsically motivated? There's one big factor, and that's wanting. Here's how all the media works. They want you to want something. Yeah. The games for the kids, the advertisements for the adults, go to the Super Bowl ads, go to any ad. They all work with one thing only, and that is wanting. They they tap into a part of you that wants something, and they act as if they deliver it with their product. So that is why you see a half-naked woman on a car posing, because the person wants the woman, not the car. So they just put the woman on the car. You see young people, Coca-Cola, dancing on a boat, on a yacht, having fun, because you want the fun, not the Coca-Cola. So they mix the fun with the Coca-Cola, right? So now they share us. How did we crack that nut with the wanting?
Oh wow, that was a fun one. So how old was I when we ended up
6.
doing our 6? Okay, perfect. So this was right around when I started becoming way more needing things, right? Every time we went to a store, I'd want to buy something at least because I would go to the store otherwise, right? And I'd go and to go buy that thing from the store. I'd go and buy this candy or that treat, always wanting this next thing, right? And it got to the point where if we ever went in and I didn't get anything, it was always immediately like, this is horrible. I can't stand this, right? And so finally, my
And
mom,
talk about your birthdays. Talk about your birthdays.
oh
You
yeah,
can.
then then it got to the point where I had my awesome, a really good friend of ours, Russell. He's my godfather, and
Russell,
we had
big shout out to you. He's
big
a
shout
tribe
out to
member. We love
Russell.
you, Russell.
Yeah, and so he was here, and we figured, why don't we make something really fun? We always did the funnest things. We'd have these really fun get-togethers and these airplane meetings and that kind of thing. And finally, one time we were talking about what? we only have a birthday once a oh yeah, what was it? Yeah, so we were gonna have my birthday, which is in November 29th, and but he wasn't gonna be able to be there for it. So we figured, why not? Since he's leaving in a month anyway, let's just celebrate it this month on the
In
29th
May. It was in
in
May.
May. In May. So we think let's just celebrate it this month, right? So we got a party together and celebrated my birthday, and it was super fun, right? But Russell didn't
May
end up
20.
needing May 29th, right? But Russell didn't end up needing to leave. He was still there. So the next month rolls around. We figure, well, let's just do another party, one more birthday, no worries. And so we did another birthday, and June birthday comes and goes on the 29th. Russell's still there. So at this point, we figured, well, let's just do it every 29th. Perfect. So we start doing a birthday party every single 29th, and I'm always expecting new gifts because I think it's a birthday, I better have some presents. And so this is happening until in August, we end up inviting the whole community. I went
You ended
and
up inviting
I went and invited the whole entire neighborhood to this birthday
with
of
his
mine.
bicycle. He went with his bicycle to everybody in the neighborhood and said, "Hey, I'm having a birthday." He was so used to having birthday parties now that he invited the whole neighborhood.
Exactly. Now they all came, of course, with
A
presents
lot
and
of them.
stuff. And we ended up having to explain to them that this wasn't my actual birthday. This was just a little party we were having. And yeah, you can guess how they felt about that. But now we got to the point where I was constantly expecting parties and birthdays and presents all the time. Whenever somebody flew in from somewhere else, oh yeah, it's good to see you, but do you have any presents for me? Was
Yeah.
always my first question. I'd go and I'd just expect to get things from people, right? And so once it got to that point where I couldn't really handle not getting anything new, I started not being able to enjoy the things I'd get. I'd get the toy and immediately think, okay, cool, I got it. What's the next one? We noticed we had to change something here. And
And
so what my
also and
yeah,
also you didn't enjoy the person anymore as much, you
right,
know? It was
right.
like, did they bring a present or not? Not do they
Exactly.
spend time with me? And
Right.
we have to say, to be fair, it wasn't only the birthday parties. It was also Oma and Opa, Grandpa and Grandma were there. And every time they came, they brought a present. And they came like several times a week, you know? And we had other visitors. So it was basically almost a present a day. Hmm.
Much. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so we ended up then we got to the point where my mom was like, okay, what we're gonna do is one whole year of not getting anything. But that's
Yeah.
starting next year. So, I still have, my birthday to look forward to, and I still have,
Christmas.
Christmas to look forward to. And so I don't even have to worry yet. So she announced it ahead of time. And I'm still getting things, I'm still having fun. I get to have my birthday comes around. She announces it again. Okay, now we had your birthday. We have we have Christmas still to look forward to, but after Christmas, we start no more getting things for the year. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. Because I was still just focused on Christmas. And so Christmas comes around and really fun Christmas, we get the presents. And the next year comes around, and now she's like, okay, this next year we're no longer getting anything, and so we started that year. And at first, of course, it was really, really hard for me. I'm like, what do you mean I can't have anything, right? And lots of crying and stuff, but she would just hold me through that and let me just deal with the feelings, which this honestly, it helped with the wanting, but also it helped tremendously with how I'm able to deal with feelings and deal with these attributes, these feelings of anger, sadness, and understanding better ways to deal with them than to put them somewhere else, just to feel them inside. And
Beautiful.
so for the whole year, we went through this. Of course, birthday and Christmas, that was still presents, but otherwise, everything else, all the other, people coming and stuff, it was, we had to tell the grandparents to not bring presents with and stuff. They're like, what do you mean not bring presents? He loves them. No, I mean, have you seen how happy he is when we come and bring him presents? But I think that year really helped because, I mean, we can look at how it manifest itself today, which was this Christmas, where we had a nice amount of presents under the tree. And as you know, Christmas comes around, we opened up one or two of them, and there's still some presents under the tree. And once we get to January, we notice, maybe it might be time to, lose the tree a little bit, right? We still have presents then. And in February, we took down the tree, and there were still presents under the under the tree. And I think at this point, what month is it? It's
May.
let's see, it's May,
Hmm.
and we finally looked through, opened up most of the presents, and so
Yeah.
that's good. But it's kind of, I think that year of not wanting was, I think, one of the most important years of my life, just because of the fact that now, if someone comes to my birthday and brings me presents, I really don't mind what you bring me, right? I really don't mind what they'll bring me, but the fact that they came and the fact that they made that effort, I can start to appreciate that more because I'm no longer stuck in the material things. I'm able to see the truth of them coming and kind of bringing their support.
Mm. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Beautiful. Yes, 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 yes. I love it. Who? And from my perspective, if I want to add, or if I may add, for me, that this was addiction prevention. To me, it was like I need to make sure this child is well, um, is healthy, emotionally healthy, so he doesn't get into any addiction. And what is addiction? Addiction is the strongest sense of wanting. The wanting is bigger than yourself, the bigger than your thoughts and your feelings and everything you ever wanted. Yeah. That wanting overrides even your aspirations in life. Yeah. And so I decided if he gets a grip on the wanting and he understands that that wanting feeling is not stronger than he is actually stronger than the wanting feeling. And if he experiences that once, he will never forget that. He will never think when that, bless you, when that wanting comes up, that he's at the mercy of it. And the wanting could be a toy, it could be food, it could be a girl, it could be an experience, it could be a friend, it could be anything, right? And so that's why we did that. And yes, it was hard to convince people that they don't get to give him any presents, but I stacked them all. I stacked them all in the present room so he could get them, then at birthday and Christmas. So it's not like he didn't get them. He got them later. Delayed response, delayed gratification. And that delayed gratification is actually something they found out scientifically. If people are, there were several tests done with that, and one of them was the factor that determines whether a person is successful in life or not successful was if they can handle delayed gratification. Because if a person cannot handle delayed gratification, they will want the quick fix, they will want the quick money, they will want the quick reward. They will jump from job to job. They will also stop when the business fails that they started because they believe it's not happening. If they can handle delayed gratification, though, they know the gratification comes with work and effort and pain, and they can handle that pain until they get gratified. And that's a big success factor that they found out. Yeah. I think it's the biggest addiction prevention factor. Now, I want to talk about that feeling part. How do you prevent the addiction? How do you handle that wanting? Is by allowing the feeling and being there with the child or with yourself as an adult and hold you or hold them through the feeling. Naiya mentioned it quickly. He said she helped me through the feeling. So here's how this looks. Here's the child, could be you as an adult who wants chocolate or ice cream. And you see the thing you want. I'm like, I want this. Woo! Give it to me. Tantrum, right? However, the tantrum is, as an adult, it's going to be manipulation. You're going to manipulate somebody. As a child, it's going to be yelling, something like that. As soon as I see as a parent, there's wanting involved, and that wanting is a strong feeling. I don't care about the thing anymore. The thing is gone. We don't care about the bear, the ice cream, the chocolate. Now we're dealing with the wanting. We're like, okay, you're feeling that feeling of wanting. And I held him and said, you feel that feeling? The wanting wants to take over. It's really strong. I know it hurts. And so he's like, yeah, I want it. He has anger and sadness all together. So I'm holding the child so he can push against me. That releases anger. Yeah, when they're little, you can do it. When they're older, you need to give them a pillow that they can kick against, for example, or throw or push into. But right now he was younger, so I could hold him and he could push against me. And I want him to push against me because I want him to get that anger out. At the same time, he's crying. I'm holding him for the sadness. I'm holding him close so he can feel safe to feel sad. And so now he's crying and wanting, and literally the neighborhood that he invited, they saw me walking with this child in arms, screaming. I'm like, hopefully nobody's going to call the police on me, but I know I need to help him that way. So he screams and cries, and I want it and I want it. And I reinforce the feeling until it's all out, because there's a certain amount of feeling available, let's say a liter or a pint of sadness. And when you have it cried out, you're actually going to be happy. If you have that fear out, you're going to be happy afterwards. The sun shines afterwards, after the rain. So you want to get all of it out, not just a little bit. So don't distract him. Distraction is the worst that people can do for their kids when they're crying. You don't distract them, you literally hold them through it and say, yeah, isn't it bad? Yeah, you really wanted that, right? Didn't you want it so bad? Yeah, I know it hurts. You wanted that chocolate or that bear. So I keep bringing it up and he's like, yeah. And all of a sudden he looks me in the eyes and says, okay, now I'm done. Thank you. And he literally says, I'm done. I got it now. He gets up and plays happily. Doesn't care about the bear anymore, about the chocolate, the ice cream. And is back to himself, free to enjoy the moment.
Which,
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Naidi now. So
but
wanting.
right. And so I noticed that I ended up getting to the point where like I'd notice because she'd hold me and I'd get all mad and stuff, but when nothing was happening anyway from it, I get to the point where I notice this is really not efficient. You know, I'm just wasting time that I could be playing with my toys, and I'm over here trying to get something which I'm not getting anyway, right? And so I'd get to the point where first it would take me a while before I'd be like, okay, I'm good, I'm ready to go. And it got to the point where I'd be mad for a bit. I'm like, right, this is really not going anywhere. I've tried this the past couple of months, and since it's not getting any better every time, I'd rather just be playing with my toys that I already have anyway, and I'll just deal with this stuff later on. And, and so I think just kind of, even though it's kind of like apparently I wasn't getting the deep part out of it, I noticed a lot of the times these, the deep lessons and stuff you learn them in a very shallow way, with me just being lazy, that I didn't want to keep spending time trying to, fight for what I wanted, right? Ended up just giving me this acceptance, right? And this acceptance of not, oh, okay, I was beaten, but noticing that, it really isn't the smartest thing anyway. You know, probably should use my efforts, if I'm anyway using them, for something more productive that will bring me further.
I love
And yeah.
that. I love that. That's such a great explanation, Naidi, that you just literally, go the lazy route, go the easy route is really what it is. Yeah. You go the easy route and you say, I can cry and scream here for an hour and I'm not going to get it. Or I can cry for 1 minute until the feeling is gone and can actually have fun. And to learn that is amazing because first of all, you learn that crying or, pushing against something releases the feeling really quick. And then the feeling is gone and you are not jeopardized by the feeling. The feeling does not hurt you. And it's not anything to worry about or fear, right? So you learn the feeling is smaller than you are. And number two, you learn that you have the power in your mind to literally direct your attention. If you do it, not the adults distract you, you direct your attention away from what is the problem right now. You actually enhance your life and you get a better life out of it in the long run. And that to me is just so powerful because we as adults, we always look for problems. We look for the negativity. We place attention to the problem. Even teachers place attention to the student that gives the most problems. But this is not what we should do, not even as teachers. We need to give attention to what works. And Knight has learned that. And so now he'll always help me do that. He'll say, forget it, we don't care about that. Let's do this right now. This is fun. And thank you, by the way, Naide, for being my teacher now, because this is so beautiful as it comes back to me. And the one thing that I can share here, that's the last tool I want to give people, that for your kids, but you can use it, of course, in any which way. You can use it with adults too. The last tool that plays into this, and then I have another question for you, Naide, is, and we're opening up for questions for you guys too. Think of your question for Naiya, and please take the opportunity if you wish. The last tool was, I gave him always two options. So you heard him say, I wasn't forced to a timeout. I wasn't forced to do this or that, I wasn't punished. So those are things that are really important, I think. Punishment does not work, and forcing kids doesn't work. All it creates is opposition, and punishment creates people thinking they're bad. But what you can do is give them two options. And that is, you need to get your COBOL in check right now. And if you can, we can continue playing immediately. And if you cannot, then I need to get you and your COBOL, I'm sorry you're in that, into a quiet time for a little bit until your COBOL is normalized. So think about it. What do you want? You want to go in your room for a little bit and get that COBOL out? Or do you want to continue playing here and you got the COBOL in check? Let me know what you can do. And I'm not attached to the answer. I let him choose, and I'm going to support him in either. He needs to go to the room. Okay, we're here when you come back, holding space. Oh, you can play right away. Okay, fine, we're good. I don't have a preference. So for example, in the car, he's, screaming. Doesn't happen often because of that, but if his friends were screaming and he was screaming, I would say, hey, two options. You're in the car right now. We're driving to the beach. You can lower your voices and we're going to go to the beach. And if you cannot lower your voices, you can continue screaming, but we need to do it outside of the car because it hurts my ears. What do you want to do? Scream outside of the car or continue going to the beach quietly? And then they can choose. And I'm telling you, the first time, they always choose screaming. So they go out of the car. They think I don't mean it. I stop the car on the side of the road. We literally go down the hill by the road, and I let them scream. And they'll scream more in that moment because they think this is inappropriate. Well, it is appropriate. It is clear and it is fair. My ears don't get hurt. You get to scream.
Which
Everybody's
is
needs something.
right,
Yeah.
which is also because the reason why they would choose the screaming part, even though it doesn't seem smart, is because their ego at that point always wants to go against force. It always wants to push against something, right? Like either be that physically or push against boundaries or anything like that. And the choice, when you give them a choice, or when you give, when she would give me a choice, that made it so I was never in defeat, because the worst thing you could feel, or the worst thing that could really make your ego want to get even more mad when you're in this specific point, is to tell it you need to do this and then not give it the choice to have a different choice, right? Because it's a very fine balance between what is still feeling like you're heard, and but also feeling like that you need to do what's being said, or else it's just going to be you're going to be choosing the wrong option. And because she gave me a choice, it would make it, I never have to, I always had the choice to not go away in defeat, right? Now, if I didn't listen to the choice, I'm trying to be like, no, I want to do my own thing. Well, she's like, well, you have the two choices. You have to choose right now, or else I'm going to have to choose for you, right? And so I could get to choose, and it wasn't a defeat for me. And then I could come back, because a lot of the time, I didn't want to be in my ego anyway. I didn't want to be in the kobold, right? That was just already kind of put on to me. And once you get into the kobold, if somebody tells you, hey, get out of your ego, you're going to be like, no, I'm not in my ego, right? Because you don't want to be seen as stuck in your ego, as weaker than you are, right? It's all about power and control. But the choice, I could then choose, fine, okay, I guess I'll go to my room for a minute and come back, or no, I'm good, right? I'm playing my toys. But that would then force me to really prove that I am in control of no longer the situation, but of myself. We turned it away from I need to control the situation to, well, I need to show that I can control myself. And then I'm the most powerful person in the room. And boom.
Wow, I love that explanation. Even for me, this is amazing to hear this, how this landed. I love that it's about not creating defeat for the child. You're not creating defeat either way. You're keeping them in their power, but you're actually strengthening their own power. And oh my gosh, I love it. Look at the hearts and the thumbs are coming up. I love that so much. Thank you for responses. Yeah, because when you are not in defeat, your true self gets strengthened and you become more and more strong in who you really are, and the ego gets really weakened. I love that. Yeah. And so the two choices are just very, very powerful. And those two choices make you, as the parent, always be the friend to the child. You're never the punisher. You're never the person who chooses. You're the person who is kind and supportive and supports their choice. And if their choice sucks because now he decided to get out of the car and scream there, and it started to rain and they're soaking wet, and they didn't get to the beach and the people are already gone we wanted to meet, then I'll be there to soothe him. I won't be there to say, oh, didn't you make a bad choice? Didn't I tell you should have listened? And then, I'm sorry, this really sucks. So annoying. Yeah, really sad. And I'm going to hold him through the sadness. And then we're going to swim and we're going to have a fun time. Yeah. So this is just beautiful. So thank you, Naiya, for sharing that. And so you shared with us how to not identify with the ego by understanding it's a separate part that grows up as you grow up, and you can learn to get it in check. The parents first starts to get it in check, and then you get it in your own check, and then you help the parent to get theirs in check. So that's beautiful. You shared a tool of how to keep your sane mind, how to keep what do you call it? How to be even minded, how to be can you help me with the word I'm trying to find? Guys, help us with the word. How to deal with situations so they don't rattle you. Yeah. And if you're rattled, what to do. Yeah. That's basically what I'm saying. Yeah. What do
How
you
to
do
keep
when
your
you're
nervous
rattled?
system.
Say again.
Are you saying how to keep your like nervous system?
Yeah. Your nervous system in check. Yeah. In a calm space. Yeah. And you shared a tool of how to deal with the wanting. How do I deal with the wanting energy? I want something really bad. How do I get out of that? That's addiction prevention. It's also how do I deal with feelings? Yeah. And that feelings are not bigger than me. And you also shared the scrolls. You shared, okay, how can I understand the world from my perspective and respond to the world in the way I want, by literally observing the world and understanding that the world is not all about me. It is I am becoming the steward to the world by trying to understand the concepts and the tools people use and the ways people are, and then respond to that. Yeah. Rather than trying to understand what they want from me and what the world wants and what I should do and how I should mend myself and melt myself to fit in. Yeah. Good. Naiya, we can't see you. Somehow the camera is gone. Okay. And this is a time where you guys can ask questions, and we'll end with Naiya's super quick morning programming. Guys, yeah, bring up some questions if you like. And Naiya, let us know what's going on. Okay.
Sorry about that. My Wi-Fi kicked me out.
Again. Okay, good. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, our Wi-Fi. That I get to see what you guys get to see. I'm sorry about that. Goodness gracious. At least we can sort of see you and we can hear you. Sending blessings on this Masha.
Perfect.
Okay. So questions. Okay, let me know if anybody has a question. Please raise your hand. What do you want to ask this guy? You can call him you can ask him anything. This is your chance to ask a question about whatever comes to mind. It doesn't have to be related to what he shared. Okay, I hope people can ask a question. You can also post it here in the chat. Okay, Bridget. She's saying, can you share this on your YouTube channel so I can share this session with my daughter who has 3 grandbabies? Yes, we will do that. That's a good idea. We'll make it official. Okay. Ava, I would love to watch this with my son, already grown. We did our best, but this is great. Oh, thank you, Ava. Yes, yes. We'll make this available. And Naida, you can share it on your podcast soon as well.
Yeah.
Naida has a podcast coming up. You want to share about the podcast a little bit,
Yeah.
like in 10
So
minutes?
I'm starting a podcast about it's kind of for teens, kind of to share these things that these tips and tricks that I've learned throughout my life and growing up the way I did. And it's called Beyond Beliefs. I am recording videos for it. It'll be on YouTube and Instagram later on. And so yeah, so I'm recording videos right now, and once I get enough of those out, I will start to be posting
I love it. Yes, Beyond
and open it
Beliefs.
up officially.
Beyond Beliefs. Yes. You guys are going to be the first to get to subscribe to it, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. What do you want to
Awesome.
know from this guy? What do you want to know? Okay. Andrea is saying, who is inspiring you the most, Nayade? Love
Oh,
that question.
that's a very good question. Oh wow. Hmm. I mean, of course, my mom has always been my biggest inspiration
Oh,
all the time. Just seeing. I mean, I always have these. 'Cause I know when I'm older, I want to be a father, and I just always hope that I can have my kids grow up the same way I did. So that's kind of been my biggest inspiration, I think.
oh, thank you, Nayade. So love it. Who else? Who else inspires you?
Okay. What books are you reading from Bridget? That's
Mhm.
I'm very much into high fantasy. And so I think my favorite author, his name is Brandon Sanderson. He has some incredible books in world building, and there's lots of philosophical things in there too. So I really like those. And then a book that I really recommend, which started reading a while ago, and then I've gotten back into reading while I was visiting my cousins in Utah. It's called, I think most probably heard of it, Atomic Habits. It's an incredibly amazing book about just really resetting your life in the things that you do and kind of getting rid of this. He talked about some really amazing, like laziness and not wanting to do things, how habits aren't just things you do, but things you feel. And that these things that you feel are just, these habits. I feel sadness or when I feel lazy or, oh, I'll do it later on. These are different habits that you've created. And it's incredible how it just teaches you, brings you through how to change these habits, level your life. So I really recommend that one.
I love it. Great question, guys. Here, this is Brendan Sanderson. I hope I wrote it correctly.
Yes, yes.
Good. Thank you. Good. What other questions we have? Let me see.
Thank you, Terry.
What courses are you taking?
Oh wow. Okay. Well, that's a fun
This
one.
is really good.
Uh,
This will tell you how we school him because
yeah.
he's
So
mhm.
the courses I've been taking are so on Mind Valley. There is this incredible real estate course, or it's a manifesting mastery course, which is
Financial mastery, it's called.
it has a bunch of amazing teachers like um yeah, financial mastery, right? And it's got a bunch of incredible teachers like Vishen and Jasprit Singh and Alfio Bardola and quite a few others. And I found that one's really interesting because they have different. It's a pretty long course. I think it has about 54 sessions. Each one is about 2 hours long, and it goes over just a few different sections. So one section is all about real estate and finding real estate. The next one is all about um, like crypto and investing in stocks. The next one is about just finances in finding a job or starting a business. And so that's one that I found is incredibly wise and has a lot of really great information in there.
And
And
why are you
let's
taking that course?
that. Oh yeah, like for school wise.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm doing that. That course is pretty much for me. Just that's kind of my schooling here. I stopped doing high school the normal way because I felt that I wasn't really going to learn much else for what I wanted to do in life. The public high school around here, and so I wanted to kind of get a head start on life in making some financial streams of income and stuff early on, so that the time in my 20s that I'd spend trying to find a job, I can already start enjoying. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's okay.
Yes. I love that. And let me say something about that. What's so
Perfect. Yeah.
beautiful about it is, that you don't learn finances in school. You don't learn relationship in school. But those are the two most important things you're going to deal with the rest of your life. If you have relationships figured out and finances, you get the life you want, right? You can literally get any information you need from the internet. You can learn any skill at any time in your life, right? But if you learn early on finances and relationships, you can make your life absolutely amazing. And so we decided that's going to happen. And Naiya really decided that by himself. He said, I let him look into the school. He looked into the school. He actually went there for a day and it was very fun. And he said, yeah, I would have fun at school, but I think I would delay my life by the years that I'm in school. So instead of delaying my life, let me just start on right away. And we got him onto the best courses on Mind Valley. Mind Valley is an amazing platform for that. We have wonderful mentors that work one on one with him. We're so grateful that John Butchers said he would mentor him, and his son Justin is now helping him with his podcast. We have Russell that I mentioned earlier, who's helping him, and many other people who stepped into actually being his mentor and helping him in different ways, right? And so he's doing music, he's doing something about flying, piloting, he's doing financial mastery, and he's doing bodybuilding exercise, to build his body up and be healthy. And um, Patrick and Jesse from the Homeschool Revolution. They live upstairs from us. They're our neighbors. He goes to work out with them on a regular basis. And so, what I decided is important for him at this stage is that we're bringing in excellent people that are modeling something that he would like. And he tells me what he would like, and then I'll help him bring that in. And I asked Vision, and Vision, this is shout out to you, grateful for Vision, if he would help him financially with this big program. And he did. He helped him financially that Naiya De could do this big program because it's an expensive program in Mind Valley. So really grateful for Vision to do that because he cares about the young people. And yeah, so seeing that he steps into his mastery right now, understanding how to navigate the world of finances and navigate the world of relationships, which is what he's been sharing with you now today, and with what he shares in his podcast, is just something that gets him a head start so he can live the life he wants early on. He said he wants to finance his pilot career. He wants to be a pilot for fun and not for making money, and actually have time and energy to do the fun things in life. I honor you for that. I'm grateful you're putting time and effort in. We have an online schooling program that he uses, which is called Escalus. Is it called Escalus, Naide? I always say
Marcellus.
Acellus, which is an amazing online program where he can do the schooling stuff. So he has all the tests and he can learn on his own pace. He learns French on there and can choose topics. So there are so many possibilities of how you can actually grow up into a literate and an intelligent human being with and in a happy human being without being in public school. And especially because you're not in public school. So really grateful
Mm.
for that. And yeah, thank you for that good question. Nadia, do you want to add something to that?
No, I think you pretty much covered it. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
love
thank you.
it. And then
Awesome.
people are saying, did you get your pilot license yet? Are you a pilot yet?
Oh, that's a question for me?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Perfect.
not for me.
Okay.
I'm getting sick in airplanes.
Yeah, actually, so I've been working on that now. I went on a few flights now. Wait, who is asking that? Because I think were they here at the
No,
when I went?
Bridget, she wasn't here.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
Because you can tell about Wisma.
Right, right. So I went up in this awesome flight with Uzma, and we flew all the way down past my house. It was incredible. I got to fly the plane and fly back, land back, and now I've been traveling a bunch, so I haven't been following up on that as much as I can be. And so that's why actually me and my mom, while I was in Utah, we talked about the next year and kind of getting a lot of these things more into motion in a quicker manner.
Yeah. Good. You want to talk about next year, what your plan is for next year? He called me up and he said, this is the plan for next year. And I totally love it.
Yeah.
And that's
So
going to be the ending of our talk. And then we'll go into the morning programming.
perfect, perfect. So yeah, I called her up one night in the middle of the night in Utah when I found myself walking outside after having gotten off a good phone call with a good buddy of mine. We were talking about beliefs and that kind of stuff. And so I call up my mom and I say, I think I have the perfect plan for our next year. Since we've been traveling, or I've been traveling a bunch this year, like all over. I'm about to fly to Germany and kind of felt like it's been a lot of traveling. I noticed also that I haven't spent a lot of time just kind of spending time on the island here. And since I anyway have this time before I, move out or really start my career, I can kind of use that time to enjoy the island, right? And enjoy things around home. So I came to her and I said, what if we did the whole year next year? We're going to be on the island except for summer. So summer, we're going to do a traveling intensive, but that gives us all this other time that we'd be traveling in between here and there and really keep that grounded on the island. We want to start getting into golfing and just spend a lot of the time going to the driving range and stuff. And for the first half year, really practicing and getting really good at it, so that for the second half of the year, we can go back and start playing with other people. In those what are those like pickup games? I'm not sure what it's called in golf, but yeah. And so that would kind of be my sport because I found I really enjoy golfing and it's really fun to me. Then on the side, I would be maybe get because I want to get like a kind of one of those funner, smaller jobs, like something that I can kind of enjoy and having just for the fun of it. And for
Social
that, yeah,
interactions.
social and stuff. And so for that, I'd want to go and work on a boat. So I was thinking next year I would be able to work on a boat for the year and stuff, and really get to spend time doing that and then taking the money from that I have and learning more about investing with that so I can invest that money and grow it all while enjoying that time.
That's beautiful. I love it. Yeah. And the boat is a boat where tourists come and they do parasailing. So he'll be in touch with a lot of tourists and with a lot of cool people. And so that's a social time. And golf as well, making that a social time, connecting with people, high-minded people that we would like to connect with, and getting into a competition there after we're really good at it, and us doing something together, because he'll probably do a lot of things by himself the following year and this year as well. So those are all aspects that go in there, and in the meantime he's learning about finances and implementing his finances that he makes into his investments and building that while he's having fun on the boat. So
Mhm.
I love that. I love that. And you still have one pilot lesson already lined up that he's going to do when he's coming back in September from his travels. And then we'll see where it goes with the piloting. Bridget asked because you told her in Sedona about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
thank you about that.
Yes.
Yeah, and Andrea asked what is really fun for you. So he just shared. And he said, golfing, if you start early on with golfing, you enjoy that. You enjoy being outside, you enjoy working out your body, you enjoy precision, getting better and better at it. Why not do it early so that when you're older and you can only do golf, you're good at it? And yeah, like that, like that. Good choices, honey. Super.
Thank
So
you.
proud of
Thank you.
you. Such a proud mom of this beautiful human being, and so humbled to be his mom. Because of course I always feel inadequate. We always feel inadequate as parents. That's just comes with the parenting package. But I'm so grateful for the things I did good, and I'm so grateful for the things I didn't do good, so you could grow better from them. So
Mhm.
love that. And thank you for being my son and being in my life and choosing me as your mom.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love you
Yeah.
so much. Good. So here's the quick morning programming that Naiya does. Let's get into action, guys. You ready for action?
Ah,
Okay. So of course, the morning programming, he grew up with that. And Helen is saying, what a beautiful, insightful young man. This call is such a blessing. Oh, thank you, Helen. Thank you for sharing that. Beautiful.
thank
Good.
you.
And so he grew up with me doing a protection shield for him, grounding him when he was little. And once he was like 3 or 4, I showed it to him. And then he actually recorded his first video for people when he was 5 years old, something like that, with the morning programming. And then later, I think when he was 8, he did another one. And so right now, we're going to have his third video where he's going to share how to do the morning programming in the quickest way. This is how you can do it with kids, teenagers, and you can do it when you're on the go and you really need to leave, but you need to get that in. Yeah. I'm not recommending only doing that, but I'm recommending having that tool available as an adult and only doing it with kids and teenagers for sure.
What I can do. Huh. Okay, perfect. I'd say, why don't we just start? Okay. Awesome. So, morning programming. I would always do this before school or before going on a flight. And it's incredible how much it changes. Like for me, doing this every morning, anytime I had issues at school or with my friends or just doing things, I could always notice a little trend that I hadn't done my we always called it just grounding. And I never grounded before that day. And so I have a very kind of quick way of doing it. So I can show you guys that. Perfect. So now take a deep breath. And envision light roots shooting down from both your feet and from your perineum in between your legs, growing down through the earth's crust and mantle, and connecting to the center of the earth. And you can imagine yourself pulling in, breathing in. When you breathe in, bringing in good energies, positive vibes, and protection. breathing back out any negativity, any worries, any fear you have. And in, happiness and connection and lightness of heart. And back out any uncertainties you have and any we'll do that 3 times. Now imagine a light rod shooting out from your crown chakra straight up into the heavens. And again, bring in everything you want to bring in, all the positivity, every good feeling you've ever had and good feelings throughout the day. Bring that in. And back out anything that could be a block in your day. Now from both directions. Best day ever. See how that already feels. Now, send some love to everybody around you, people who you know, the people like who you'll meet, people who you feel very great around and you really love, and especially the people who you're not having the greatest time around. Just giving them that love will help with just bringing that, just bringing that connection between you two. Even if you haven't seen eye to eye, just sharing love with them can always help with bringing you guys to a new level of perhaps finding an even better friendship. We'll say divine connection now 3 times. Divine connection now, divine connection now, divine connection now. Now to create a protection shield. I always like to imagine it like a bubble coming around me, filled with light. Now, this protection shield isn't to keep you away from people. It's only to keep out anything, any negativity, any bad words, anything that could be messing with your quality of life. But to let in all the love and happiness and friendships. You can see what color yours is. Mine always is a different color every day. So see what color does yours resonate in. Divine connection now, divine connection now, divine connection now. One more time. Now, you can just breathe in one more time. Breathe in everything good. This is the final breath of just pure connection, pure happiness, and best things in life, the best things in your day. Back out, balancing that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Awesome, and I think we got her back.
Thank you. That was amazing. Woohoo!
Awesome.
I love it so much, Naiya. Thanks for doing this. So here is this is so amazing. You just continued doing it while I was gone.
Yeah.
Love it. I literally cut out for when he was doing this. So this was just the angels saying, okay, you're out of here. This is his stage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us today, Naiya. We are now going into the lounge. So we're going to just give a big shout out to you, release you and reward you and love you up. Let's all send love and aloha to Naiya De. And you
Thank
just receive.
you.
Feel the love. And this is the start of your podcast. There'll be millions and millions of people listening to your wisdom. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we're going to end in our alohas. But actually, we'll do the ending later in the alohas. But we're going to go into the lounge right now. And if you're listening to the recording, the energy session will be a short energy session today. We already did one here with Naiya De. We're going to do an energy session where we're going to connect you from down here to up here, a tool that you can use in your day when you're off center. And you get to go in the lounge right now. I'm going to share a little bit about the lounge, but we're first going to let go all the people who are on the recording, and we're going to let go Naiya De so he can have breakfast. And thank you for showing up here today, Naiya De. Love you so much.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Really great to be here and wishing you all the best. Thank you. Thank you, Mom, too. Love you so
Love you.
much.
Big hug.
All right.
See you in a
Yeah.
few
Love you
days.
guys. Bye-bye.
Aloha. Good. Beautiful. So this was so amazing. I love it so much. Thank you guys for holding space for a wonderful session with my son. I'm so proud. Can you imagine how you feel? Woohoo! Oh gosh, when you hold that little baby in your arm and you just hope he's going to turn into a beautiful human being and then he outgrows the biggest expectations. And yeah, and of course he's, a normal human being and he's allowed to make hundreds and thousands of mistakes. Doesn't have to be perfect ever. And yeah, all is well. Love you. Aloha.